The sound of claws slicing through the air should have felt comforting, a reminder of who Wolverine was. But tonight, as Logan stood alone in the shadows, the weight of his own hands felt like a curse. Betrayal had come from the place he least expected, the X-Men, his family, the ones he had bled for. They had betrayed him, and now the world would pay. But they weren't the only ones who had plans for him. The Soviet Union had captured him, mind-controlled him, and turned him into the weapon he never wanted to be. Wolverine was dead. What remained was a shadow, the Winter Soldier. It started like any mission. Logan and the X-Men had been called to investigate an underground weapons deal in the Arctic. A standard operation with nothing out of the ordinary, but Logan could feel something was wrong as they made their approach. "Everything's too quiet," he muttered, his senses heightened. "We'll be fine, Logan," Cyclops replied, his voice calm but distant. "Just follow the plan." Logan didn't like the tone, but he didn't argue. He never argued with the team, not unless things were serious. But something about this felt off. A bad feeling he couldn't shake. As they breached the facility, everything went south. No enemy soldiers were in sight. The building was eerily empty. And then it happened. The X-Men turned on him, his team, his friends, his family. "Stay back, Logan," Cyclops ordered, voice cold and resolute. "Stay back?" Logan's voice cracked with disbelief. "What the hell is this, Scott?" Storm stepped forward. "It's for the greater good, Logan. We had no choice." Before he could react, a tranquilizer dart struck his neck. His body failed him, and the last thing he saw before slipping into unconsciousness were the faces of his comrades, filled with grim resolution. When Logan woke, he was in a dark, unfamiliar room. His body ached, his senses dulled. The familiar burn of his healing factor working overtime was all but non-existent. He tried to move, but his body was restrained. His claws were gone. And there, standing over him, was a man clad in Soviet military garb, a cold, calculating expression on his face. "Welcome, Wolverine," the man said. "Or should I call you Winter Soldier?" Logan's mind raced. The last thing he remembered was the betrayal. His own teammates, his family, had handed him over to the enemy. He fought the restraints, but they were too strong. They gave me to you," Logan muttered. His voice sounded hollow, like a man speaking from a grave. "Yes," the man replied. "Your mind will be erased. You will forget who you were. You will serve us, just like the weapon you are. Your past is irrelevant now." Logan felt his heart pound in his chest. He could feel something slipping away. The memories of the X-Men, of Jean, of everything that made him who he was, his very identity, was starting to slip. They had erased him. He was a tool now, a puppet without strings. The fury that rose in him was nothing compared to the emptiness creeping in. Days turned into weeks, and Logan's body was put through excruciating mind control experiments. His memories were erased and rewritten. The warm feeling of camaraderie with the X-Men faded, replaced by cold programming. Every time he fought the conditioning, the pain would become unbearable until he would forget yet another piece of himself. One mission after another, Logan carried out his orders with brutal efficiency. He was sent to assassinate, to destroy, to kill. His claws cut through the flesh of his enemies without hesitation, but each strike felt emptier than the last. The man he used to be was fading, and all that remained was a soldier, a weapon. And yet, deep in the recesses of his mind, there was a flicker of resistance, a memory of a time when he fought for something more than orders, a time when he was Logan. But each time that memory surfaced, it was quickly drowned by the cold voice of the Winter Soldier. During a particularly brutal mission, Logan stood over the body of his target, the blood still fresh on his claws. The mission was complete, but something was wrong. A flicker of memory, a whisper of the past, haunted him. Jean, her smile, the warmth of his old friends. His hands shook. the weight of his actions finally sinking in. What had he become? He wasn't just a soldier. He was something worse, a tool of destruction. But somewhere, buried deep, there was a part of Logan still alive. He wasn't entirely lost. The question was, could he ever break free from the Winter Soldier's grip? As Logan walked away from the battlefield, the haunting words of his betrayal echoed in his mind. "We had no choice, Logan." The Winter Soldier was born, but Logan's fight wasn't over. Somewhere inside, the seeds of resistance were planted. The question was no longer if he would escape, but when.